This one is a scary one. Be aware of cliff launches. If something goes wrong with your glider or your trip, it may be over. You will inevitably fall down the cliff with no plan B. Now this is an interesting one which you don't see very often. Main mistake was failed pre-flight check as he launched with a knot. Even though he felt while running that something was wrong with the wing, he thought it would get fixed. While trying to fix it mid-air, he accidentally stalled or spinned the wing, but luckily he had an emergency rescue and threw it without hesitation, which probably saved his life here. Takeaway: always make a full pre-flight check, listen to your sensation and abort launch if you feel something is wrong. Worst scenario is everything was okay and you have to prepare for another launch. And always bring an emergency rescue with you, cause you never know. A number of bad judgment calls and piloting errors lined up to contribute to this crash. This was the pilot's second day on his new, smaller and faster wing. He had just started flying the 10 meters Pirelli Pro. He was trying to do a fast and snappy barrel roll with way too much weight shift, causing the wing to over-rotate and throw him into a second accidental roll. And with the G-forces, which pushed his body more into the harness, it further caused more rotations and the wing to build up more and more energy. Now, if I remember correctly, people in the comments told that these things are more likely to happen with little cloud wings as they are just very small power gliders and don't have a real speed wing profile. The message we can learn from this is not to downsize too quickly and ideally learn how to exit spirals or a SAT on big paragliding wings. In addition, I would always try to learn on a real speed wing that is more forgiving and stable instead of a small paraglider, as you need much more active piloting skills on a small paraglider. The pilot stated that in order to get to the takeoff he used the so-called snow feet, and to wear them he uses snowboard boots, which are absolutely bad to run for takeoff. And those snowboard boots caused him to trip. Takeaway from this video is that you should always launch with proper equipment and especially shoes. And please do not launch with those. I've seen it already on several videos and I can only imagine that going wrong on a speedwing. Even more on the landing, you can get stuck and hurt yourself really bad. Here we have altitude misjudgment on a barrel roll, strongly influenced by flat light and dark lenses. Depending on the lighting, it can be really difficult to recognize the contours of the terrain, especially on snow and water. Here we have nothing really bad, but just a quick reminder that sometimes it's better to have an airbag under your harness so you can slide it out on your butt and prevent you from distort or break an ankle. This looks like a minor crash, but still the pilot got a tibia pilon fracture and a load of metalwork. We can clearly see some mistakes caused by lack of experience, as the pilot says he got overwhelmed with information and forgot about his landing approach. Starting from holding the brake toggles that way, you are less sensitive to inputs. Closing the trimmers earlier would have given him more time to think about the landing approach, and same here, sliding it out on his butt with an airbag would be safer and can prevent injuries like a broken ankle or even a dislocated shoulder. Same here, just use an airbag under your butt, and landing like this ones feel like landing on a soft cloud. But there's still one more message we can take away. Pilot told he was flying in unexpected turbulences and therefore kept staying on the brakes. Because of lack of experience, he thought letting the glider fly with hands up wouldn't be okay in turbulences, but that would definitely have been the right decision for landing, as with the brakes already low, he's coming in with no energy left to flare it out. So letting the glider fly a few seconds before landing would have given him more energy to flare it out. Pilot said that he picked the worst runaway on an already sketchy launch, stepped into a depression and tripped. The wing catching the rocks kept him from sliding down on a steep slope. Pretty bad cuts, several deep contusions and the wing was trashed. Takeaway: with small wings it's easy to trip on sketchy terrain, especially if there is no headwind, as you don't really feel the wing above your head with smaller sizes and it feels like you're running just in a free fall. Watch the terrain and think about the risk of tripping before sending it. Nothing happened here, but again, watch your wingspan and your surroundings. Pilot stated that this was the only option for a landing area and he should have turned right. That's probably true, as he seems to have crosswind from right or behind, so everything would have been better than going left. He applied too much brake input to the left, so the wing made a steep turn which always makes you lose more altitude. Having an airbag protection to slide it out on your butt helps in these situations when you make the wrong decision and have no way out. Now these type of launches where you have a very small flat area and after that it immediately starts getting steep are very tricky. In addition, he's surrounded by obstacles, not only trees, but also rocks, which he is hitting right here. Not much to say. If not that these type of takeoffs don't forgive, I would think twice before launching on such a takeoff. Doesn't look like a terrible landing, but it left his backside black and blue. This pilot has arrived at the top after a hike and fly, the sun went down and wind has changed. Downwinds can get scary, but if only walking down in the dark was as fun as flying. I guess the pilot wanted to take off in that direction, as it seems like there are trees everywhere else. I don't know why he turned directly into the bushes. Takeaway, sometimes it's better to hike down again, but most of us learn this rule only after experiencing it themselves. This one is pretty self-explanatory. Pilot decided to take off surrounded by obstacles. Beside that, I can't imagine that he would have made it into the air in time before reaching these trees with a small wing. Takeaway, watch your surroundings on takeoff for obstacles and only launch if you're certain you can always take off before the first obstacle, even if you should get sinking air, which sometimes happens. The plan was to make the left turn, then right and slide it out on the grass. But when turning to the left, this pilot got caught by headwind, which accelerated him even more. With little altitude left, making the right turn made him bump into the ground because of the altitude loss on the steep turn. Takeaway. In scenarios like these ones, when the landing field is short, I would try to prepare for the landing earlier in a straight flight without the need to adjust with steep turns at the last moments, as you will always lose a lot of altitude when making steep turns. Once again, we have the wingtip touching an obstacle. Nothing bad happened here, pilot luckily recovered it. Here we have an altitude loss misjudgment at the landing. It looks like he stayed on his rears, probably pulled too late. In that case, switching fast to the brakes would be a better option in most cases. An airbag would probably also have helped. Again, the wingtip touching the tree, causing an unexpected crash. No injuries, but an airbag would always help in such a situation. Another crash due to the wingtip touching a tree. This clip shows how dangerous barrel rolls close to the ground can be, as these flights all took place one after another. Just because it worked a few times doesn't mean it always has to. The last roll was initiated too low with too less energy, causing him to lose more altitude than on the previous rolls. Another barrel roll, probably initiated without building up energy, which caused lots of altitude loss. I've had the honor of seeing this close call in live. Two friends taking off one after another, flying proximity down the slope. At the landing, they nearly flew into another, even though it looks far away from the perspective of the GoPro, but it was really close. I've seen this type of scenarios happen more than once. If you fly with friends or other pilots, always discuss landing plans in advance, as who lands first and from which direction you will be coming in. Here we have another reminder to watch your wingspan. Luckily, nothing happened. The pilot said there was something wrong with his left soft link, not sure if it was a malfunction or he made a bad pre-flight. Takeaway from this crash is to make a good pre-flight check and bring an emergency rescue with you.